Why sheep dead? Why is there sheep dead everywhere? Did someone just kill sheep? Or did this one sheep turn to cannibalism? There's been surprisingly few incidents I've seen at community college. The worst was this one racist dude having to be kicked out of the area where people play Super Smash Brothers on Switch, because there's like a TV kind of in the student center, so people just bring a Switch and hook it up. Someone had to, so like everyone already hated him, so when he like finally dropped a racial slur, everyone was like, oh good, we can finally get rid of him. With a legitimate reason this time. And he only dropped it because he was like salty over Smash Brothers patch notes. And like, the good thing about him being gone is that we can shit talk him 24/7 now. Because now every day people are just like, oh fuck him. No one wanted him there. It was just like, he was just there and people had to deal with it. I mean, he was more unlikable than I am. And think about how high of a bar that is to clear. You know what? We're on the topic of stupidity. Let's talk about this kid. I don't have anything else to talk about, so whatever. So, 8th grade science class. Just more advanced. The way it was set up, it was like the earth sciences, like geology and learning that about rock. That was kind of the thing. And like weather and climate. Like that whole sort of stuff. Like in elementary school, but way more advanced because you're in middle school now. You're with the big boys. And this one goddamn kid. I'm not going to say any names, but first off, before we get to the kid, that class was a shit show in every sense of the word. Like, people would sit down and then class was supposed to start, but people wouldn't shut the fuck up. So it'd take another 15 minutes before things even got started. So I don't know. Our teacher had the patience of a saint with us. And she was pregnant at the time, so I don't know. I don't know how she dealt with that. Like, both being pregnant and dealing with, like, one of the worst classrooms I've ever been around. And, like, no matter how hard she tried to get people to, like, stop and get there and just, like, you know, just function as a classroom, they never did. And so eventually, when she had the baby, she was on maternity leave for a few months because in Minnesota we get nice things. Our teachers get nice things like that, or at least in our school district. And I think she was enjoying every bit of that. I think the labor pain she went through was just like, she was probably thinking like, yeah, it's still not as painful as dealing with that class. But anyways, we had like a long-term substitute teacher, and he wasn't bad. Like, other substitute teachers I had in junior high. It was actually good. The major difference between him and the teacher, our regular teacher, is that he had a lower tolerance for bullshit, and unfortunately for him, he couldn't stomp out the bullshit, but he damn well tried. And so one day, well no, there was 2 incidents with this kid, and so here comes the kid. Like, he's friends with members of the football team, which is not a good start. Because, I mean, football team, it's full of idiots. Just, like, they're there to, fail at football and bang the cheerleaders. That's the whole point of a football team. Never go on to advance their career in sports and, I don't know, get addicted to heroin. Or at least that's the case for probably 98% of them. I'm not trying to make any sweeping generalizations here, even though I said 98% of them. And so, eventually, we're watching a little video in class about, like, natural disasters, like, you know, your tornadoes, your hurricanes, your volcanic eruptions, and the like. And while we're watching, it just says to write down 10 facts you learned from the video. Not that hard. The video's like an hour long. Not that hard. You can find 10 facts in there super easy. And this kid somehow didn't do it. I don't know how, but he managed to fuck that up. He was so bad at it that the teacher actually read out his completed assignment to the class. Try to shame him into compliance because I think that was the only option he had left to try to get this kid to, you know, actually start functioning like a human being. And this is what he had. Tornadoes are scary. Volcanoes are scary. Hurricanes are scary. Tsunamis are scary. It was just that. Those were the facts he got. I mean, they are facts. But I mean, when you're in 8th grade, that's not the level of facts you're expecting. Like, you're expecting, like, what causes tsunamis and things. It's just like, what's the biggest tsunami? Not like, you know, tsunamis are scary. You don't need to watch the video to learn that. That's just, like, assumed by default. Because no one looks at a tsunami and is like, oh boy, my favorite natural disaster. Whoopee! No one does that. So yeah, that was the first incident. The second incident was when, like, he and his group of dumbasses just decided to, like, you know, talk for more than 15 minutes and just spend, like, 30 minutes doing it. And so this teacher is just like, okay, I'm gonna shut the lights off. No one gets to talk. You get to write, like, a whole page about respecting the teacher. Guess what happened? That kid royally screws it up again. He manages to really not get the point. And also throw one of his friends kind of under the bus. Because, again, the teacher reads it out loud. And at this point, I think this kid just relishes attention no matter what. Because, like, I'm not sure. His face was, like, completely red all 3 of these times. Like, I think he understood that he was fucking up. And that being embarrassed is not a great thing. Yet, it kept happening. But anyways, this is what he had. Oh, God, I have to remember this. It was mostly about, like, I'm a good kid. You know who's not a good kid? This other kid. This other kid, is not a good kid. I'm good kid. That's kind of what it was. It was just him. It's just like, how I respect a teacher. I respect the teacher. This other dude doesn't respect the teacher. It was like the world's shittiest stand-up. If anyone was laughing at it, people were laughing at him, not with him. So yeah, that was the second incident. The third one and the last one, and I can't figure out how this happened, because it's too stupid even for me to comprehend how this ended up happening, but yet I saw it happen. Everyone saw it happen, and our normal teacher was back at this point. I don't think the school was going to let her have any more days off. She was just like, oh no, please, I'd rather be with a whining, crying shit machine than with those guys, because they're practically the same thing. But no, she's back, unfortunately for her. And, well, this didn't have to do with him writing an assignment or anything. This was just general dumb fuckery. It was, like, work time in the class. And me and my friends were, like, doing our assignments and stuff. We're just kind of sitting around talking about, I don't know, something. What was going on in 2013? Probably, I know it was about, like, we were, like, hyped for a movie or something. But all of a sudden, we noticed that he's trying to get his pen, the ink capsule out of his pen. And we're just like, okay, whatever. He's just trying to take his pen apart. I don't know why. We don't know why he wanted the ink capsule. All we know is that he was trying to get it. We're just like, okay, whatever. Just ignore it. It's a big load of nothing. And then 3 minutes later, he's running around the classroom, screaming like an idiot, and there is black pen ink all over his mouth, and the teacher is like trying to get him to go down to the nurse's office. He's not willing to. He's trying to go to the sink and like wash it out, like he thinks he's some sort of genius, even though like he clearly can't get his mouth under the faucet. And so he's running around panicked for a good minute, and everyone's looking at him. He's embarrassed. He's just like, I think he was actually scared a little bit. And this goes on for a minute before he finally goes down to the nurse's office. And everyone's just like, no one's getting work done anymore. Everyone's just like, what the hell happened? And apparently, from one of my friends who was paying a little more attention to that, he had the bright idea of trying to get the ink capsule out with his mouth. And he wasn't pulling at it the way it's supposed to come out. If you do want to take the ink capsule out, he was pulling at it the wrong way. So eventually he was just like, I'm going to use my mouth to try to get more leverage. And then somehow he inhaled pen ink. Like, a lot of it. I don't know. I think it was like, I don't think he caused any more shit shows for the rest of the semester, to my recollection. I'm probably wrong. There's probably one I'm forgetting. I don't know. It took him inhaling pen ink to learn his lesson. I mean, other junior high stupidity was mostly from shitty substitute teachers. The only other dumb thing I can remember a kid doing is, trying to warm up Pop-Tarts by dropping them in front of his crotch so he could hotbox it with his balls. That was something I witnessed and wished that I didn't. Yeah, the substitutes were probably dumber than most of the kids. And most of the kids were pretty fucking dumb. Half of them didn't know how to work a CRT TV. Because for some reason, even though we had projectors in our school, we still, on occasion, had those carts the TV carts. So, so it's in my social studies class, which I had first hour of the day in 7th grade. It's just like, substitute teachers here. We're gonna watch a random movie. Because that's the only thing substitute teachers can do. Instead of putting it into the computer and playing it through the projector like a normal person, she has the TV cart wheeled in. No one's questioning it. Everyone's just like, okay, whatever, TV cart. Puts the DVD in, gets that far, and so she's on the DVD menu. I don't know how she got that far. I think she just figured out of put the disc in tray, close tray, and that was it. Because she said this. She asked, how do you play the movie? How do you get to the scene selection? And then so... I'm usually a helpful kind. I'm usually like, okay, I'll just help. I mean, Jesus. But I'll at least help. So I'm about to say something when some other kid says, oh, it's a touchscreen. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, whatever. It's an old CRT TV. And, like, she's older than us. She shouldn't fall for this shit. And yet, before I say anything, she's already walking up to the TV. I'm just thinking, no. No way. I'm too shocked to move. Or say anything, because I'm just like, if what's about to transpire is to think it is about to transpire, Jesus Christ. And it actually does happen. She starts poking the TV like an idiot. No one says anything. There was like 25 people in the class. No one says anything. Everyone's just staring at her thinking, oh my god, how did this person get their job? How does this person have a functioning brain? Because, like, it's a CRT TV. It's in 4:3. The thing can't even go up to 720p. If you had the TV on, you know, like that little hum? You could hear that? That's how old it was. And usually I would have said something of like, oh, that's not how you use it. But no, my jaw was on the floor as well. I too was like, this can't be real life. And so after a whole minute of that, sneaks up, grabs the remote. He apparently had the remote, the DVD player remote, up his sleeve, and he just kind of presses the button every 5 times. Actually, no. Before that, she says, like, oh, it's not working. And then he walks up to the TV, sneaks the remote up his sleeve, and then, at the same time, he taps the screen, he presses the button on the remote. It's like, oh, it's working. And the teacher's like, oh! She's still not getting it, by the way. The fact that it's an old-ass CRT, and it's not a touchscreen, still isn't getting through to her, that she's been played by a bunch of 12-year-olds. That's still not through her head yet. And so, she keeps poking at it, and he's not hitting any of the buttons, so she keeps just tapping it, and nothing's happening still, and it's just like, we're just still in another level of amazement now. It's just like, you can't be this stupid. There's no excuse for this. And like every 5 taps, he hits a button on the remote to get it closer to the scene selection. The whole time, no one says anything. Everyone's staring. She's poking at it. The kid's just hitting buttons on the remote. The whole thing's just transpiring. And so eventually we just watched the movie. And no one's paying attention to the movie. I don't even remember what the movie was. Everyone's just thinking about, like, oh my god, this teacher's insane. How did she get hired? How does she not know how to work a DVD player? It's like 2012 at the time. Everyone and their monkey has a DVD player. How do you not know how to work this? Have you never seen a TV in your life? Are you Amish? What is happening? We never got those answers on why she thought that. Maybe she was just going along for our entertainment. I don't know. I highly doubt that was the case, because she was, like, really old, and I think she would have gotten tired of poking at a screen like an idiot for 5 minutes. We were the first class of the day, so hell knows what the other people were thinking that came in after us. You can just imagine their faces when it was, like, without context, she started poking the screen. I mean, there was another one that the only thing that they did wrong was put the DVD in upside down. That was the extent of it. Other than that, we've never had a teacher that didn't know how to use a DVD player. We've had nutcases, lots of nutcases. Our junior high was a magnet for moronic substitute teachers. No one knew why. It just was something that happened and people were used to it. Like, usually people are excited with this substitute. Everyone at my junior high was like, uh-oh, what sort of crazy are we gonna get today? So I have like a few other insane substitute teacher stories, like a concerning amount of stories involving insane substitute teachers. But I will say one of the other shorter substitute teacher stories is, this was still 7th grade, and this was like the first week of school. So this was like new school, so everyone's out of elementary school and in junior high. And I'm in band class because I did band in elementary school. I was like, why not keep doing band? So what ends up happening is week 1, there's a substitute teacher because the teacher got sick. This one was like, you all sit in your seats and don't move. You should all socialize with each other, but you can't move out of your seats, which is just confusing and just paradoxical instructions right there. So everyone's just like, whatever. All the people who already know each other from elementary school are already talking. I don't know anyone. I'm just kind of like sitting there on my own, just like sitting next to no one, to be honest. So even if I wanted to talk to someone, I couldn't, because then I would have to get up, and then I would get yelled at. So I just kind of sit around, and I didn't bring a book or anything, which apparently was a mistake. So I'm just bored out of my fucking mind. And so 30 minutes in, I had a bunch of loose leaf paper to take notes on, and then to stick in a folder instead of like a notebook. And so I just start taking those out, and I just start tearing like the perforations off, because that was like the most fun thing I could do at the moment. And so I'm tearing up like perforations for 10 minutes at this point. I'm just like, whatever. This is entertainment now. And eventually the substitute teacher comes over, is just like, oh, why are you all alone? It's just like, I don't know anyone in this class. And out of fucking nowhere, she's just like, you're a lone wolf. Oh, she actually starts making I can't say it, Jesus. Howling noises to the whole classroom while standing in front of me. And I'm just like, please fucking kill me. It's just like, from that day on, I think I just tanked my reputation. It's just like, I just wanted to be alone. Now I'm probably never gonna make friends. Thank you, substitute teacher. One of them was notorious. One of them, whenever you saw her, people were just like, uh-oh. She was the package deal. She was insane, hated kids, didn't know what she was talking about. And this is the only one that, like, seemed to happen with this teacher. Racist. Yeah, so that happened. I mean, she didn't use racial slurs. It's just that she kind of had a little subtle, I say subtle in quotation marks, but I'll get to that eventually, against black people. But let's start with, like, how she became nefarious in the little crowd at junior high. So, as part of the STEM program in junior high, which meant that I had a tech class, which meant you learn about, like, modern technology and all that. And one of the units in 8th grade was about pneumatics and hydraulics. And so, apparently, she actually tried to go off of the lesson plan and didn't pop in a DVD, which usually would be a good sign, except when this teacher's an idiot. She literally just put the PowerPoint on, read off the PowerPoint. It was just like, well, this works, I guess. Except for the one time she went off PowerPoint when we were talking about pneumatics or something. She was just like, oh, it's like those things in the old garbage trucks. Except she had this weird ass accent, so she said her E's weirdly. Anything with an E. Like garbage, she would say garbage. Garbage! She goes on about, like, this is what she said. I'll never get this. Back in my day, the garbage man had to get out of the garbage truck, get the garbage can and put it into the garbage truck. The amount of times she said garbage in that one sentence was mind-boggling. And the amount of times we heard garbage was also mind-boggling, because it's garbage. No one says garbage. No one. That is not how words work. So eventually, that just becomes kind of like the local meme. Garbage just became the local meme. So every time someone saw the substitute teacher, we would try to make the best of it. We would try to get her to say garbage. Or garbage. Like, someone was like, come up to them with, like, their trash. It'd be like, hey, where do I put this? And just like, oh, it's, put that over there. But in the blue one? No, the other one is just like, what is that? And then she would say it, and then everyone would just be like, and then everyone would just try to stifle their laughter. I mean, that is the level of meme it came to. But yeah, other than garbage, there was an incident. Like, she was just like the main sub. Everyone knew her. I don't know why she kept getting, like, being the one selected for all the substitute jobs in the school. It just happened. But people saw her a lot. It was just like, oh god, this person. social studies class, aka history, just with the fancy name. Talking about, like, the 13th Amendment, end of the Civil War. All the slaves are freed. So, we're at the age where you can't tell the difference between the Emancipation Proclamation and the 13th Amendment. We're at that age. And so, that's where our teacher left us, and we're, like, reviewing stuff. So, she's like, class, what was the document that freed the slaves? And then someone, and I don't blame them for getting mixed up, but they said Emancipation Proclamation, not 13th Amendment, which was the correct answer. And she's just like, can you repeat that in English? And everyone's just like, oh my god, you don't know what the Emancipation Proclamation is. Everyone heard it. No one misheard it. I don't even think she misheard it. He says it again, and she's just like, I'm not getting it. So, yeah, not knowing what the Emancipation Proclamation is doesn't make you a racist, but it's instantly not a good sign. It's just like, uh-oh, there's red flags popping up. Because when I tell this to one of my friends who was in a different social studies class the next day, he was like, oh, dude, I don't believe you. There's no way that would happen. Luckily, one of my other friends who was in the same class was there to back me up, and he's just, like, mind blown. And so, like, a few weeks later, that same friend who had the different period, he tells me that there was this incident with her. And this is the same friend who doubted me that she didn't know what the Emancipation Proclamation was. So I have no doubt in my mind this actually happened. I don't know if it was, like, a coincidence or not that he was black, but I'm willing to bet there was no coincidence. So, he just walks into class a few minutes late. She says, that's insubordination! She sits down. That's insubordination! Gets out a notebook. That's insubordination detention! And, yeah, that's, like, the most I heard about that story. Yet I don't think I need to question whether it happened or not, because it probably definitely did. She wasn't even a fun substitute teacher. It was just one that everyone just dreaded getting and just endlessly shit-talked. But another big offender, this is the fourth one I can remember, was another long-term substitute. Now, this one wasn't because we had a pregnant teacher. This one was because after the first semester, our tech teacher quit because I think he just got tired of idiots just being around him and not being able to shut up. I think a lot of the tech class in 8th grade had the same people in that 8th grade science class I had. And so he quit. They aren't able to find a teacher over winter break to teach that class. So they hire a long-term substitute to take care of it. Sounds fine. Sounds like a good solution. Problem is, it's an old coot who doesn't know anything about anything. Usually, like this, we never saw this sub before. We were just like, okay, this might not be bad. And then he starts, and we were in 9th grade when this happened. So imagine our surprise when he starts teaching us the 7th grade curriculum that we learned 2 years ago. And we're just sitting there like, didn't we do this already? I swear we did this like quite a while ago. And eventually we're just like, okay, we all can't be wrong about this. And so we go up to him, we're just like, we're supposed to be learning about this. And I don't know what he said. I wasn't there for it, but I think it was along the lines of, your heads to get back to the classroom, attention, something along the lines of that probably happened. So we all go back to doing our little shitty slave labor. He's not even teaching us, he's just handing us the assignments, and he's just like, here's the textbook, here's the assignment, figure it out for yourself, and then he just sits in the chair. And everyone's getting pissed. Because not only did we already know this, he was, like, not accepting it. It's just, he thought he was always right. He thought he couldn't be the one making a mistake, because he was older than us. He was the very definition of okay boomer. Like, I don't know, he was the ultimate okay boomer. Probably even more okay boomer than the DVD lady. Just think about how high of a bar that is to clear. So yeah, eventually we're just like, you know what, fuck this. If he fucks with our grades, we'll just, like, complain about it to, like, the principal or something to get it fixed. So everyone just stops doing the assignments. And everyone's just, like, not even turning them in. He doesn't notice, because he's too lazy to give a shit. And here's the thing, he said he would, like, flunk us all via the gradebook if we didn't do the assignments. He never even, like, changed any of our grades. Because he apparently didn't know how to get into, like, the gradebook application. or like the grade tracker, because it was all online and stuff. He couldn't do that, so our grades just kind of sat as they always were. Nothing got graded, nothing got updated for the first month of that class. Everyone just sat around and just did shit on their iPhones. You know what? I think Brayden and I went to the same junior high. He's the owner he's like the founder of the server. I could get him on here. That would be interesting for guest star. Talk about our shitty substitute teachers. We went to the same school district. I didn't know if we went to the same junior high, but we went to the same high school. That's a whole nother story, though. We didn't have any weirdos in high school when it came to substitute teachers. It was just your run-of-the-mill ones that actually had lesson plans and were actually qualified to talk about what they were teaching. Unlike junior high, where they just got any person in the, I don't know, in a crack house. Probably. I wouldn't be surprised if that's where they actually got them. So half of them seemed like, well, they would have energy if they were on crack. Most of them were just like, I don't know, completely out of it. Oh, I think I can say this without risking getting hit by YouTube policy for doxing, because it's broad enough. But the one that said garbage, last name was Epstein. No relation, as far as I know. But if there was a relation, that makes a lot of sense. No one knew her first name. Everyone just knew her as Mrs. Epstein. Nowadays, super awkward. It's like, you think school is a place for smart people to go? You'd be surprised how many idiots there are. Honestly, that's probably a motto for the world. Looking at you, flat earthers. My sister was also in the STEM program at junior high, which means she also had a tech class. The thing was, she was 2 years behind me. And the one good tech teacher I had in 7th and 8th grade quit, or no, not quit, retired at the end of it. And she was a damn good teacher. My sister was really sad not to get her, and I feel her. She was a damn good teacher. I was thinking like, okay, maybe the curriculum will make up for it. Maybe she'll still get a good experience. Maybe the teacher won't be bad. The teacher was bad. The teacher was the worst teacher. See, with the substitutes, you usually just have to wait a couple of days for the real teacher to come back. And for the bullshit to be over. This one you were hoping for a substitute teacher every day. Because even a racist, crappy last name who can't say garbage correctly was better than this. I have to not name drop here. Let me just say, I saw this dude, you couldn't miss him. Because it was like Eric Cartman. He was about as fat as Eric Cartman, except an adult in one of those motorized scooters. Let me just say, motorized scooters, when you have to be in one of those, it's like, uh-oh. Either you're actually disabled and need that, or things are gonna get really retarded in here. Guess which one it was. Because, like, he was too fat to walk. Like, he got up and walked sometimes. It's just that he was too lazy to get up. And he kind of did look like Eric Cartman. He always had, like, a red shirt on. So I'm just going to call him adult Eric Cartman, or just Eric Cartman for the rest of this. That's literally what he is. Every bad idea, I don't know if he was racist or not, but being that he was such a prick, he probably was. Every single bad, shitty, scammy idea of Eric Cartman had, he's probably had the same thing. I'll have to ask my sister for half of these. Consider this part 1 of these stories. But from what I remember, he chucked a water bottle at a kid once, for no good reason. It was just like, oh, sorry, I was aiming for the trash can. Except here's the thing, the trash can and the kid were in 2 completely different directions. And here's the thing, he was in that goddamn motorized scooter all the time. He would just run over people's toes, just because he could. It was like, oh, sorry, get out of the way. I mean, I don't know how he didn't get fired within a week. And then there was like a whole thing where my sister had to do a PowerPoint presentation on shoes and how shoes worked. Anyways, you guys have any psychotic teachers or psychotic substitute teachers from public school? So I've had one in community college that isn't quite psychotic, just kind of cuckoo. Pretty blessed, few mean teachers, and your dad was the sub that would come in and be all shouty. Ah, lucky. That's nice. Except for when your dad's the teacher, then things are a little awkward. What other insanity happened? Oh yeah, my, kooky college teacher. So, community college. So where you go when you're not good enough or too cheap for real college? I'm both of those. I'm both too stupid and too cheap for real college. Which is why I go to community college. This one computer science teacher. It's a little kooky. It's kind of apparent that she hasn't used a computer for, like, that's newer than anything made beyond Windows 98. She kind of says a few outdated programming terms now and then. If we don't indent our curly braces perfectly, she makes us redo the whole goddamn assignment and stuff like that. I mean, people learn to put up with it. The only real part, the real pain in the ass was when it came to, like, showing the assignments, because you couldn't send it in digitally, no. You had to print it out using the school printers, which hate me for some goddamn reason, because every time I try to use them, they're always low on ink or just refusing to work. Yeah, if, like, a single curly brace is off, or you misspell a variable name, not like the spelling is inconsistent, like, if you had a variable named French fries, and it was, like, and you misspelled it as French fries, she would make you fix that. Even though it didn't fucking matter. And the program worked anyways, just as long as everything that was supposed to say French fries said French fries. And, like, even if it was like, no, I fixed it, just look at my laptop display, and I, like, turned it to her, she was like, no! And covered her eyes and looked away, like some sort of, kindergartner. And, like, everyone was just like, whatever, it's an easy A class. Just don't expect to learn much. But the real thing, well, there was two weird things. One is that she loved Dilbert to a creepy degree. And every Halloween, she would come in with, like, this deflated Dilbert mask she would wear, made out of, like, rubber, and it would always just, like, flop over. So, yeah, I have seen what a deflated Dilbert looks like. Number two, she wore suspenders. And when an old person wears suspenders, it's like, uh-oh. This person might be losing a bit of brain. And number three, I think she was, like, the leader of the motorcycle club or something. So she was, like, trying to do, like, hey, fellow kids, look at me, I'm a cool adult. But nothing comes close to the amazing circus of Pi Day every March 14th. Something beautiful happens. And by beautiful, I mean fucking bizarre. Because the first time, everyone's in class waiting for the teacher to show up, she's late. No one knows why she's late. We're gonna give her like 5 minutes before we all just ditch. And 2 minutes in class, she comes in this off-brand Superman outfit. Well, she starts singing, and she's calling herself Pie Woman. In fact, one of my friends got a video of this. I'll play the audio of what happened. Oh yeah, I titled this Why Retirement Homes Exist, by the way. And without further ado, I present to you the audio of this.
Listening case. If you need to find a circle's area or its circumference, and you know the radius, you just pick woman, pie woman, pie woman, pie woman.
Everyone in class was confused when this happened, by the way. This just happened in class. Just spontaneously. No warning. Just came into class dressed like bootleg Superman. Oh yeah, and with shitty stand-up. No one was laughing out of, like, because it was funny. Everyone was laughing out of fear.
First I went to trigonometry woman, but every time I brought up the subject, she'd go off on another tangent.
I need to shut this off. I can't listen. Jesus Christ, it's only a 2-minute video I recorded, and I can't even listen to the full fucking thing. Ah. Like, at one point, the school store, at the end of the year, they were just like, yeah, we got all this soda, and because we're gonna be shut down for the summer, we don't want all this soda to go to waste, so you guys can just have it. And so we're just chugging soda like crazy, and eventually we just build a tower out of the cans. And we got it to go up to like 12 cans high. And it was just like amazing. I don't know if I have the photo, but if I find it, the other major thing that happens every year with the group is this is unprompted every year. It's not a formal tradition, it's just something that happens. Is that there's like an event called Sex Week, which sounds like it's just this whole school-wide orgy. It's not. It's just like a whole week promoting like safe sex and like people giving out like free condoms. Of course, the people I know aren't getting laid, so when they take the condoms, we just slingshot them around with the dental dams like Angry Birds at each other, and it turns into like the shittiest warfare. And one year, someone was like, "Oh, it's flavored grape. I wonder what it tastes like." And so we're all just taste testing these fucking dental dams. Because it says grape. And everyone's just like, "I'm gonna grape you in the mouth." I'm the grapist. And so we realized it doesn't really taste like grape. It tastes more like plastic. And it was just like, well, it's supposed to be like a dental dam, right? Maybe you're supposed to like get it wet with fluids. And so we just pour a bunch of water on it. And then we tried tasting it. And it tastes the goddamn same. And everyone's just like, okay, this sucks. If you're gonna advertise a grape flavored, at least make sure it tastes like, I don't know, a Jolly Rancher at the very least. That's an actual, hang on, the Grapist is an actual video.
You kids look like you could use a delicious fruity beverage! Who are you? Might I suggest Fizzy Pop's Grape Blast? The new soda from Johnson & Hedges. Open wide, kids, because I'm gonna grape you in the mouth!
He's going to what them in the mouth?
He's gonna grape them.
This was like a whole thing that wouldn't die down in my friend group for like a month. Right. Everyone would just like, every time someone had a grape Jolly Rancher, it was just like, I'm getting graped in the mouth!
I'm not sure that I'm comfortable.
Sad adult panda, of course. Because there's no child pandas. Because pandas don't fuck. He hates taxes. Everyone does. No one sees taxes like, oh boy, I get to do my taxes. It's not taxes mostly, it's the fact that you have to do your taxes. That's the painful part. It's like the thing pandas are known for now. They're not known for anything else. It's just the things on the brink of extinction because they refuse to fuck each other. Which is weird because just every other species, this probably wouldn't be an issue.